On today's episode, we make a meatloaf on the smoker. I guarantee you this will not be confused with the meatloaf your mom used to make. Let's do it! Alright, I said it, this is not your mama's meatloaf, and we're going to jump right into how we're going to make this. So we're going to be cooking this on our pellet smoker here. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to get these prepped. They're going to need to set up in the fridge for a couple hours before we're going to put them on the smoker. So we're going to go over our ingredients list, and then we're going to start to combining and forming these. So in this bowl I have 2 pounds of ground beef and 1 pound of ground pork. This bowl I have 2 eggs, quarter cup of half and half, 1 cup of breadcrumbs, about 3 or 4 ounces of your favorite barbecue seasoning, half of a red bell pepper, about 1/4 of a yellow onion, 2 or 3 green onions is what you'll want. You can use the whole thing, white and green. Then I have 1 piece of celery and then about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this all in the bowl. We're going to combine everything, and then we're going to split them in half, and we'll put them in our forms here. So all I'm using for forms is just pretty standard loaf pan. I have some plastic wrap inside of it. We're going to wrap the tops too, keep them from drying out. And there's actually one more piece we're going to use as well. We're going to wrap these in bacon. So we're going to show you how we do that. Let's go ahead, we'll combine everything into here, and then we'll mix this up. Go ahead, I'm going to put in my 2 eggs, 1/4 cup of half and half. Get this incorporated into here a little bit. You don't need to overmix this. Once you see everything get combined, you're good to stop. So this really shouldn't need much more. Just trying to get all the breadcrumbs in the middle here. Alright, so that's about half right there. And then, alright, we're going to go ahead, we're going to grab our bacon. And what we'll do, actually, we'll only wrap 1 of these in bacon. So that will give you guys options, because we're going to make them 2. We'll give 1 wrapped and 1 not wrapped. So all we're going to do is going to take our bacon, lay it inside like that. I just find that it seems to have a nicer shape when you try and do it all at once like this. Alright, so we're going to grab our meatloaf here. And we're going to stuff it down in there like that. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to fold over any of these bacon pieces that are sticking out. See this. So all these bacon ends were up, sticking out over the top. We're just going to make sure it goes like that, and finish wrapping our plastic wrap. And then I'm actually going to get another bigger piece for that to do that. So there's 1. Form that. There's our 2 meatloafs, like I said. So this one, so they're about equal. This one's going to be a little bit higher up just because of the extra bacon, the extra mass. But what we're going to do, we're going to cook these to a temperature. We're not going to cook them to a time. It's just like everything else with barbecue, we don't normally cook the time, we cook the temperature. So same thing for these. And then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna pop these in the fridge after I wrap the whole thing with plastic, and then we'll see you out at the smoker here in a couple hours. All right, so we're out here at the smoker. So this is my Green Mountain Grill. This is a pellet smoker. It's essentially a clone of a Traeger, Pit Boss, those others. We're gonna be cooking at 275 is what I'm gonna try and cook this at. We'll see how the bacon does. We need to raise the temperature the second half of the cook. We'll do that, but this should be okay for the amount of time we're looking. We're hoping to get this within 2 hours is how long we expect it to take. 160 internal is the temperature we're aiming for with this. So one trick that I have seen others do, and I've tried and it's worked well for me, is I actually have it on like a baking rack. That way, in case anything were to happen, if it fell apart, it's much easier to clean up using one of these than putting it directly on the grate. So we're gonna go ahead and one thing forgot. So these sat in the fridge for about 2 hours to firm up a little bit. What I did is I took them out of the mold and I just put some more of that barbecue seasoning on it that I use. So any of your favorite, doesn't need to be specific. All right. Okay, so those are on. So like I said, it's gonna take probably about 2-ish hours, so we're gonna check in an hour. 160, like I said, is what we're aiming for. So cooking it a little bit lower is gonna allow it to retain that moisture. It should not get dried out. And the one with the bacon especially will have that help of the bacon grease going into the meat as well. So we'll see you back in an hour. We'll test this. We'll see where we're at and about how long we're gonna need to go. All right, so we have hit the 1 hour mark. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a look at these. We're gonna pop this. We're gonna do an instant read thermometer check on it, see where we stand. I'm expecting to have to go about another hour for these. So we are at 120 for both of these. So the bacon's actually doing quite okay. Give it another 45 minutes minimum and it'll crisp up pretty good here. Don't expect to have to change the temperature at all for this. The one on the right without the bacon's doing fine. If you start seeing some of the dark spots, don't worry. That's just the moisture mixing with the rub and then the smoke as well. Smoke's gonna make everything darker. So it's not burned, don't freak out. We're cooking at this low, it's not gonna burn. So maybe in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, we're gonna come out and take another look at it. And then once it hits temperature, we're gonna glaze it. And I glaze it with barbecue sauce and then a little bit of honey in my barbecue sauce as well. So don't worry, we'll show you that process when we get to it. We're gonna let these go for another 30 minutes minimum, and that's when we're gonna check it again. All right, so it's been about 30 more minutes. I don't know if you can see my dogs. They are chomping at the bit to come out here. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna test this. All right, so we're about 150. So 150 for each one, so we're gonna let them go about another 10, 15 minutes. When they get to about 158 is when I want to glaze them. And then when the glaze is starting to tack up, it's gonna finish off cooking and we're gonna pull them. So back in about 15 minutes to check this and we'll be right back. All right, so just temped both of these. The bacon one is sitting right about 155. The one without bacon is 158. So they are in the perfect spot to glaze. This is just my favorite barbecue sauce with a little bit of honey in it. It'll give it a nice sweet, tacky glaze, which is what we want. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna do that. We're gonna turn the temperature up to 300 after I'm done putting this glaze on. We're gonna let it sit for like 8-10 minutes. Once that is done, we're gonna pull them, take them inside, and they're gonna rest for minimum 10 minutes. 15 to 20 is better. So we'll go ahead, we'll glaze these, and then we'll go ahead and we'll pull this and we'll take this inside. 2 hours on the smoker. A couple different steps. This thing is ready to get sliced, and then we're gonna taste it and see how it is. Yep, I think that looks pretty good. You can see it's still moist in the middle there. Yeah, that's fantastic. So it did hit the 160 temperature. So this is definitely a success, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna taste this and see how it tastes. It definitely looks good. Definitely not your mom's meatloaf. Super moist, very tender. The bacon is awesome on it, and the barbecue sauce works great as a glaze. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to this video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you'll try it with your family, and we'll see you in the next one.